Good morning. So this week I'm going to be weaving. I just kind of want a break from sewing, and I have some things that I need to make sure I get done and mailed out soon. So we're weaving right now because that's easy. Easy for me at least. I can sit down and finish a whole weave in a day if I really put my mind to it. I'm more than likely just going to show you one of the things I'm making on my little loom back here. My plan is to get 3 scarves finished, but I'm going to walk you through the process of making one. So we'll start by getting the warp thread set up and warping the loom and then weaving. We've got a very snuggly little boy today, so he's going to be helping us weave. And I think that sums everything up pretty well. Yeah, let's get to it. Can I get up? No, I can't. So the first thing that I'm going to do is measure out how long I want my scarf to be. So I'm going to go with a wingspan and a half because I think that's probably a good size for a scarf. I don't know the size of the people I'm making these for. And it doesn't have to be perfect. If it's a little bit longer than what you intended, that's fine. I'll just give you a bit more room to get it off the loom and, make sure it's not gonna fall apart on you, I guess. I don't know. Alright. Let me just make sure I got this correct. And it looks like I did. So now we're gonna put it on my pegs. And we're gonna start working on getting this warped. Alright, so these are my pegs. Something I did off camera that I should mention is I measured out the yarn that I am using for my warp, and I just wanted to see how many times I had to go around to get an inch. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'd have to go 12 times to reach 1 inch. Does that make sense? I have no clue if that makes sense. What do you think, little boy? Does it make sense? No. Okay. So since we know that, I'm going to start winding this. So start here. Go over. Ooh. And as you can see, that doesn't reach, so we're going to try something different. And that doesn't reach either. And that leaves too much. And that works. So this is going to be my guide while I'm adding on my my yarn. I'm thinking 5 inches is going to be a good width for this scarf. Alright. So, I've got this now. And for the first go around, we're just going to follow the string. This is kind of our guide. And now that we're here, I'm going to, instead of going under and over, I'm going to go over and under, and that'll create a bit of a cross, and it'll help once we try to start putting this on my loom. And we're at 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie this off, and then I'm going to finish this up real quick, and I'll be back when we're pulling this off of my pegs and braiding it. So if you can see right here, we have this nice little X. This is just going to help us when we warp our loom, to kind of give us a little bit of a guide of what's going on what treadle or pedal. I don't know what they're called. The little boys. So we're just going to go under here, making sure to leave our guide thread, because I have 2 more of these to make. So I'm going in and out. And I don't know if this probably isn't the only way. There's so many ways to warp a loom, and everyone has different ways. But you're gonna witness how I've learned. So let's do it. These off. Ooh. All right. And since I've got this off now, just to make it a little bit neater and easier to move and work with, just gonna go do this. Oops. Did I mess this up already? I did this just fine yesterday, I swear. And all this is doing is just helping to keep our thread from getting tangled up when we're not using it. So I'll just toss that over there. It can live on the floor, I guess. And what's going on here is I am just pulling my threads through my reed. The reed is that little metal bit with all the slots in it. It helps keep all of your warp threads evenly spaced, and not get tangled up. And no one wants to deal with tangly warp threads. And I'm kind of repeating the process back here, but instead of going through the reed, I'm going through these little wire things. They have a name. I know they have a name. I learned their name. I just can't think of their name. Um, so these connect to the treadles or pedals or something, and they move up and down, so you get, a weaving situation going on. I promise I paid a lot of attention during my weaving classes. I'm just not remembering what anything is called. And back here, I'm not really attaching, I'm just tying these on to the back part of the loom. And this back part kind of pulls and holds everything back and will give it a nice tension once I get all of my thread pulled through and wrapped around. It's a little difficult to see what I'm doing here, but I'm wrapping my threads around the back, and I'm adding tracing paper in between so there's no resistance or my yarn doesn't get caught on each other. And that's just a little tip I learned from my weaving class. Some people don't do this step, and that's fine. I prefer it because it just makes me feel a bit better. And now I'm checking for tension and about to get started on weaving. Oh, and I guess my camera didn't catch this, but before I started weaving, I had a little spot right at the beginning where I would add a much thicker yarn and I would just go up a few rows, and that helped even out everything as I went, and it'll also help later on when I'm pulling this off the loom. And right here, I'm hiding the edge of a thread into my scarf. And you'll see it done a couple times. And another purpose for the reed is it helps pack things down. I'm doing a fairly loose weave, but if I was doing something tighter, I would just really pack it down with that reed. And now I'm pulling it off the loom. So I like to start from the back and then I'll pull it off the front. So I'm evening out my threads and just snipping them off and tying them off. Once all of this is done, I'm going to wash it and lay it flat, and that'll also help felt my wool together a little bit so it's a more sturdy garment. And I'm not just relying on a few little knots to hold everything together. And you can see here, I am cutting off the thicker yarn that I mentioned I used to even out my my warp threads. And I'm just pulling those out so I can tie off the front.